There is a beautiful camellia here trying to bloom with this passion vine all up in its business. I've been trying to knock that out for over a year now. I'm really fed up with it. Okay, this camellia is getting overtaken by two things: the rain of gold planted way too close, and this passion vine. And there's a weed in there because I just felt it, one of those thorny sons of bitches. But it's definitely the camellia's turn to shine, and I need to take out that rain of gold so I can access the back of this and find this plant. I don't know why somebody would have planted a passion vine in a garden setting. It needs its own space to do anything. If I could dig it up and transplant it, I would. Okay, no, those thorns are just too much for me. It's like the Dewberry vine or something. So I will need a special sort of glove to come in here and wrestle with these dewberries. Extra vicious. I don't know exactly where it's coming from, like the base. I have no clue where it is, but it is freaking vicious. I have to come back in here very soon and get these roots out, because if not, this is just going to come back even stronger and more aggressive than the stuff I just cut out. If you are in a situation where you just decide that you're going to come back, make sure you understand that is a temporary fix. I can't find the base enough to do my kiss of death treatment. So I've got to come back, clear out this rain of gold bush so I can get back here and locate the base of not only that passion vine. If I can transplant that, I will, but I've got to find the base of that dewberry vine that's growing in here with the thorns, and definitely treat that. And now I just hope I can move this pile of debris without getting more thorns. I like to fold them up with my feet and make it a really compact pile. I don't want these to be transferred somewhere else in the garden. I'm going to put these aside for the yard guys to grab. Those thorns are a real big hazard to keep in the yard, so not just for me, but for their animals too. So it's a really pretty bush. It's just planted in the wrong place, and I've got to take it down to the ground because it's drowning out the blueberries on this side. It's overtaken the camellia on the other side, and then also it blocks a sprinkler head back here. It's just got all kinds of drama. It's just too big for this corner. For right now, I'm just cutting it down to the ground. The shrub is called Rain of Gold. It makes beautiful yellow clusters of flowers the entire summer. I mean, it blooms nonstop. I'm not trying to discourage anybody from getting it. I just want people to know what it's capable of. Because if you don't consider the right amount of space that's needed for a plant like this, it becomes a huge problem rather than a pleasure. So that's why it's important to really consider plant spacing when you're dealing with perennials and evergreens. You have to think of the long-term impact it's going to have, such as this. So for this plant, proper spacing was not considered when it was put here. How this camellia bush, it just looks like somebody sliced it right there. It should be a nice uniform mound. So when it comes to plant spacing, there's a few exceptions. One exception is the overall height or the mature height of two plants, like mondo grass or ajuga, just some type of ground cover. I could put that under this camellia and let it grow all the way up to the trunk with no problem. And in fact, that would be a living mulch. That's okay to overlap the plant spacing for two plants that will never compete with each other. You have to make sure that you are offering the proper amount of space, the proper sunlight requirements, and the proper just overall growing conditions for a plant to thrive. Okay, so I've cleaned out everything to the right of this camellia and then around the back and to some of this side. There was actually a passion vine. The wind blew my camera over and the battery fell out. And anyway, I don't even know when the battery fell out, at what point or where I was in the conversation. But no, I was something about this passion vine, and I was just showing how there was a vine. I traced it down all the way to inside the camellia, and this is the base of that passion vine. So not sure, I know for sure I can't dig it up, but I was thinking maybe I can pull it out and transplant it if it will come out with enough root. There's no way to really know that until I try, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and just give that a try because it's gotta go. And before I kill it off, I'm gonna see if I can just get enough root. See, look at that tap root, that's crazy. So I know, because of the way it broke off, this is gonna come back. Somewhere, at some point it's gonna come back. But I'm gonna try to get this transplanted and see if I can get this to grow on a trellis somewhere.
think I'm gonna do a couple pruning cuts on this to encourage some more upright growth on this camellia. I see some areas that I can help that happen. Going in looking for the same thing that I would on a tree, crisscrossing branches that are growing the wrong direction, or branches that are weak, diseased.
I was looking for my hand pruners so I could get in here and make some detailed cuts, but I can't find my hand pruners. So I'm just gonna have to do what my big old clunky pruners will allow. And basically, for the first foot upward, I'm removing any growth that's crisscrossing or going the wrong direction or crowding out the center of this camellia. Allowing a little more light in here will help encourage more growth. Since it's gone so long without getting to prioritize its own needs, it's always had to compete. The sooner we can get this camellia closer to its better height, the better off it will be. But also by encouraging more upward growth, it's gonna help these branches grow out to the right side to help fill in better a little bit sooner than they would on their own. So that's the other reason that I'm doing this. Super careful, I don't wanna accidentally cut anything that I'm not trying to cut. It's still an improvement than what it was. I'm tempted to actually take this one off. There it goes. And then we have a nice little trunk starting down there. There's some other camellias in this landscape that were planted at the exact same time as this. And I performed a similar cleaning of the trunk probably about 2 years ago. And as they kind of got that little jump start of encouraging the upward growth. And at the okay. The winds are getting a little crazy today. Anyway, so they just had that advantage. A couple of these branches that I cut off before I was recording, I actually stuck in the ground, and I'm gonna see if I can grow it up a wall. I don't know how to say it, but where it grows flat against the wall, I think this would be beautiful. I don't know if it would work. I did it on a south wall because there's a spot there, but when I come back and clean the rest out, I may put some on the north side wall. It's so windy here, I swear I'm getting blown over. This camellia should be a uniform or somewhat uniform mound. You know, it doesn't grow, you know, on one side like that. But the reason why all the branching is only on this side and it's nice and round over here and then it's kind of flat right here is because of this plant, because the proper spacing was not followed. And the reason why this mistake is made a lot of times is because when people buy plants, they're young and they're small. And it's human nature to want instant gratification when you're working on something. I mean, it's natural to want to be able to look at what you're doing and think it looks good and that it looks complete and finished. Well, when you're installing the plants and they're young, and if you're going for the look right at that point in time, it may look good that day and maybe even that season and maybe even for the first year. However, if you're ignoring the mature size of the plants, you're just planting problems instead of pleasure. That's what it comes down to. You are planting problems. And the best thing to do is to let go of the need for instant gratification. You have to understand it's okay that you want that. We all want that instant gratification. The best way to get the instant gratification from plants, if you really need that, because I have to admit, I do too, is to go get some annuals. When you're gonna purchase evergreens or perennials, go ahead and pick up a flat of annuals with that so you can get your instant gratification with those rather than compromise your long-term investment on the evergreens and perennials, because they need to perform down the road so you can enjoy them versus becoming a problem and bringing you more work. Rescue in this type of situation is not normal maintenance. Rescue missions are extremely labor-intensive and high-demanding jobs because you have to make choices. And in this case, the choice was made to sacrifice the rain of gold shrub. So if you happen to find yourself in this situation where you have plants that are overplanted together, overcrowded, competing, and creating problems for you to where you constantly are having to create these little rescue attempts, then there's a little okay, I think a bug just flew in my throat or the wind blew it there. So anyway, the reason I chose to keep the rain of gold shrub over the other surrounding plants is because one, taking that out solved two problems. It solved the problem for the camellia and it solved the problem for the blueberry bush. The other reason is because performance and value. This camellia is a lot more expensive to purchase. It takes a lot longer to make this camellia get to this size than it does. The rain of gold can get to the size it was in one season. It took this camellia 3 years to get this size. The other thing is, the value of the blueberries. It takes, again, a long time for them to mature to start producing, and they started producing last year. So the last thing I want to do is hinder them or sacrifice them. So that's how this rain of gold was chosen to be the sacrifice for this situation and to help improve it. Honestly, it shouldn't have been put there, but I'm 100% sure when all of these plants put in, they were less than a foot tall, and it was fine at that time. But when you're planting perennials and evergreens, you do not go by what it looks like that day. You lay your plants out while they're in pots, and you step back and you make sure that and if you have to stop and look up and sleep on it, this is fine. I will lay out a whole landscape with plants in their pots and not plant a thing for a couple days, because I will double check certain things if I'm not sure and maybe have to switch a couple things around. But when there's shrubs and perennials involved, you want to know the mature size that everything needs, and that's the space that you have to allow that one shrub. So you draw an imaginary circle, or you can use the spray paint and you create a circle and you put the plant in the middle of whatever that mature size is going to be, and then you just do that for every single perennial and evergreen that you're going to install in a certain area. So by knowing the mature size, that's how you would calculate how many you need. So then you can configure what area of square footage it's going to take up. There's 3 plants here that each need about 6 or 7 square feet, and they were all planted together in a 9 square foot area. Something just had to go. The sooner that you can recognize any of these overplanting issues and make your corrections, the better off your plants will be, and the sooner they will reward you with better performance. And that's it for this edition of Garden Beauty. Don't forget to leave your questions or suggestions in the comment section below, and I'll see you again next time.